and students. So today we will be discussing about the part 4 of the human reproduction, where we will be studying about the female reproductive system. So in my previous lecture I have explained about the structure of seminiferous tubules, Sertoli cells, function of the Leydig cells and some extra points. So in this class we will be studying about the female reproductive system. So the female reproductive system mainly divided into two parts, one in which consists of the primary sex organs, another one the accessory reproductive organs. So female reproductive system is much more complex compared to the male reproductive system because it includes the primary sex organ, external genitalia which has several parts, and also the accessory reproductive ducts and accessory reproductive glands. So one by one we will be studying it in very detailed manner. So first we will start it with the primary sex organ of the female reproductive system, that is the ovary. The ovary is almond shaped. A single ovary is an almond shaped with a length of 2 to 4 centimeters long. So female consists of a pair of ovaries present in the lower abdominal cavity. So the female consists of a pair of ovaries present in the abdominal cavity, lower abdominal cavity on either sides, on the right as well as the left. They are almond shaped and has a length of 2 to 4 centimeters long. Now the ovaries are the primary sex organs. As we have earlier discussed, that primary sex organs are involved in the production of the gametes. So the ovary is involved in production of ovum or egg. The ovary is involved in the production of the gametes. So the gamete is called as ovum or called as the egg. Now ovary has a dual function. One, the production of the gametes, and also produces the ovarian hormones. So the hormones which are released by the ovary, they are called as ovarian hormones. We have estrogen and progesterone. So estrogen and progesterone, these both are the ovarian hormones which help in the production of the gametes, as well as the estrogen mainly involved in the development of secondary sexual characteristics. Secondary sexual characteristics of female. Secondary sexual characteristics of female, that is deepening of voice, that is high pitch of voice, development of breast, enlargement of pelvic bone, development of pubic hair. So these are all the secondary female sexual characteristics. So these are developed by the release of these ovarian hormone called as the estrogen. And we will study about the function of the progesterone in the later classes. It has a very important role in the female reproductive system. Now these pair of ovaries are covered by the epithelium layer. The ovaries are covered by the epithelium layer. Now what do they enclose? So they enclose, the epithelium enclose ovarian stroma. Now this ovarian stroma has two zones. One, the cortex, ovarian cortex, and the medullary region. Ovarian cortex and the medulla. So the ovary, it's a primary sex organ. It is almond shaped with 2 to 4 centimeters long. The ovary is involved in the production of the gametes and the ovarian hormones. So gamete we call as ovum or egg, and the hormones we have the estrogen and progesterone. Now ovaries are covered by epithelium, And this epithelium, what does it do? It encloses the ovarian stroma, where you consist of the ovarian cortex, the cortex region, that is the outer cortex and inner medulla. So inner region is always called as a medullary region, and the outer region is called as a cortical region or the cortex. Next, moving on to the ovaries. As I said, they are involved in the production of the gametes. Now these gametes which are produced by the ovary need to be transferred by the ducts. So there are accessory ducts. So these are the accessory ducts we are studying about. One is the fallopian tube. So next we will be studying about the structure of a fallopian tube. Now we will study the detailed structure of ovary in the next class. So just now I am going through the different parts of the female reproductive system. So the first we studied about the ovary. So second we are studying about the fallopian tube. So fallopian tube, it is 10 to 12 centimeter long. It's a duct. Fallopian tube, which is what? It is 10 to 12 centimeters long, which is a duct, so it's a tube. So the 10 to 12 centimeters long, it connects the ovary and the uterus. So ovary is connected to the uterus with the help of the fallopian tube. And one more thing, remember, the ovary is connected to the pelvic wall. Is connected to the pelvic wall and uterus. Pelvic wall and uterus with the help of a broad ligament. With the help of a broad ligament. And what does the fallopian tube do? Fallopian tube is the duct which connects the ovary as well as the uterus. So ovary is attached. Remember, they are not connected. They are attached to the pelvic wall and uterus with the broad ligament. The ovary and uterus are connected by a fallopian tube. Remember, so there is a difference between connection and attachment. So they are attached. The ovary is attached. So it need not fall down, right? It should be attached to the body, and the ovary is attached to the body with the help of a broad ligament which connects the pelvic wall as well as to the uterus. And fallopian tube, what does it do? It connects the ovary. So now there is no direct connection. There is some gap between. We will study it later. So ovary is connected to the uterus because the secretion of the ovary, that is the gamete, need to be transferred to the uterus during the development of womb. So there is a connection which carries that egg to the uterus is through with the fallopian tube. So you're getting clear. So there is a connection and an attachment. There is a different thing. So pelvic wall and uterus. Pelvic wall and the uterus are attached to the ovary, or ovary is attached to the pelvic wall and uterus with the help of a broad ligament which connects the pelvic wall and the uterus, and ovary is connected to the uterus with the help of a fallopian tube. So clear. So fallopian tube is 10 to 12 centimeters long, which connects the ovary to the uterus. And this fallopian tube consists of several parts. The first part, which is very close, proximal to the ovary, is a funnel-shaped structure. Funnel-shaped, called as infundibulum. Called as infundibulum. So the proximal part of the ovary to the fallopian tube, or the fallopian tube which is close to the ovary, that region is called, that is, which is funnel shaped, it is called as the infundibulum. And this infundibulum consists of elongated finger-like projections called as the fimbriae. So fimbriated, infundibulum is fimbriated. Fimbriae means these are the elongated finger-like structures which develop from the infundibulum. So these fimbriae, what do they do? These fimbriae, they collect the ova. They collect the ova. Are you clear with this? So in the fallopian tube, which is close to the ovary, it is funnel shaped and is called as infundibulum, and it consists of finger-like projections and thus are called as fimbriae. What do? They collect the ovum. Now remember very important part. Our body's ovum, the human body's ovum is called as coelomic. The egg is called as coelomic ovum or coelomic egg. Why? Because the egg is released in the coelom, and from the coelom it is collected by the fimbriae. So there is a collection it requires. As soon as the ovary releases the ovum during the ovulation, the egg has to be collected from that cavity and needs to be transferred to the fallopian tube, and that is carried by the fimbriae. And fimbriae is present in the funnel-shaped structure called as infundibulum. So clear with this? Then, so you can I will clearly say with this diagram. So here you can see that. Now this is the ovary, and this ovary is connected to the pelvic wall and uterus with the broad ligament. So you can get the 12th number. The 12th shows this broad ligament. And this ovary is not directly connected to the fimbriae. So the ovary, when it releases the egg, it is collected by the fimbriae and it transports towards the fallopian tube. So this is the third number is what is? It is infundibulum. Second is the fimbriae. So fimbriae are collecting the egg. So this region, the funnel-shaped region, is called as what? Is called as the infundibulum. And there is a dilated part. So the next part away from the ovary, the next dilated part, you can see the number 4. You can see in the diagram the number 4. The elongated and the dilated part is called as the ampulla. So ampulla is the elongated, dilated region. The dilated part of the fallopian tube is called as ampulla. And remember, the ampulla is the region where the fertilization occurs. So fertilization occurs where? Fertilization occurs in the ampullary region. So what is ampulla? Ampulla is a dilated part. So it is much more far. It forms a tubular. The tubular part of the fallopian tube, which is dilated, is called as a ampulla, and this is the region where the fertilization occurs. Next. Now after the ampulla, the part which is towards the uterus, so this part, you can see the 5th number, this part is called as isthmus. The 5th region is called as isthmus. So isthmus is the duct part, the elongated part of from the ampulla, which is close to the uterus, and that region is called as the isthmus. So are you clear with this? The fallopian tube is a duct which connects the ovary to the uterus, and this fallopian tube consists of mainly 3 important parts you need to remember. One, a funnel-shaped structure which carries fimbriae, which collects the ovum, is called as infundibulum. The second dilated part is called as ampulla, and the last elongated part and narrow region which is close to the uterus body, uterus fundus, is called as a isthmus. Is it clear? Next, after the fallopian tube, the next region we'll be studying about is the uterus. Is the uterus. So uterus, it is piriform shaped. Piriform shaped. So it is in the form of inverted pear. So inverted pear shaped structure. Now this uterus consists of a broad region called as fundus. A broad region called as fundus. Then a uterine cavity. Uterine body, and there is a cylindrical structure lower. Cylindrical structure which is lower cylindrical structure is called as cervix. So you can see that the uterus. So you can see in the diagram, so uterus is a inverted pear shape. So you know the pear fruit. So when you keep it inverted, or you can see a bulb, a normal light bulb, which we see that bulb is similar. You can see this is a dome shaped structure and becomes narrow and cylindrical at the bottom. So this is how the pear looks when you see it in the inverted form. So it is a inverted pear shaped structure, and this uterus consists of the sixth one you can see, that is the uterine fundus. The seventh is uterine body. This is the cylindrical structure which is lower. This forms the cervix, ninth part, and there is a opening at the cervix, and that passage or opening is called as a cervical canal. Is called as cervical canal. So cervical canal is the region. So you can see this is the passage between that cylindrical structure, that is cervix. So the cervical canal. So this cervical canal and vaginal canal and cervical canal and vagina, these both act as a birth canals. They act as a birth canals. So you can see the birth canals means here this is the cervical canal and this is the vagina, because the womb develops in this region. So the progeny needs to be passing out through this canal. So this canal is said to be called as a birth canal. So that is cervical canal and vagina together, they are called as a birth canal. Clear with this? Now, the uterus consists of three layers. One, the outer layer is called as perimetrium. Middle layer is called as myometrium, and the inner layer is called as endometrium. Now we will study these structures much more detailedly. So you just need to remember that uterus consists of made up of three layers. That is, outer layer is called as perimetrium, middle layer is called as myometrium, and inner layer is called as endometrium. So previously discussed about the uterus. So here we are studying about the histology of the uterus. In the histology of the uterus, we will be studying about the different three layers, what is their role. So first layer is the perimetrium, the second layer is a myometrium, and third layer is a endometrium. So serosa or adventitia, so this is the outermost layer, which is consisting of a thin visceral peritoneum layer. So it's a covering. So the outermost layer is the visceral peritoneum layer, a thin visceral peritoneum layer called as a perimetrium. This is the outer layer of the uterus. So in the body of the uterus, this is the outer layer. So this outer layer consists of a visceral peritoneum layer. The second layer is the muscle layer, which is called as a myometrium. So myometrium consists of bundles of smooth cells. So you can see these are the bundles of smooth cells. They are present in the middle layer. So the middle layer consists of bundles of smooth cells or the bundles of muscle layers. So what is the function of these smooth cells? The smooth muscle cells? The smooth muscle cells function is to undergo vigorous contraction. So that they can push the baby out. So during the parturition, there is a vigorous contraction of the muscle cells to push the progeny out of the womb. Because the uterus, remember, the uterus is also called as womb. So the development of the progeny takes place in the uterus. So after the development of the baby during the parturition, that is during the delivery of the child, what it needs to be? It needs to be pushed out, and these smooth muscle cells which are present in the myometrium, they undergo contraction to push the baby out of the womb towards the birth canal, So the birth canal. Next, the next layer is mucosa, or is our endometrium. So in the mucosa, you need to remember, it consists of secretory cells, that is tubular glandular cells, consist of fibroblasts and blood vessels. So the endometrium consists of secretory cells, that is tubular glandular cells. It consists of fibroblast cells and it consists of also the blood vessels. And very important part of the endometrium or function of the endometrium, that it undergoes cyclic changes during the menstruation. You have studied what is menstrual cycle in the reproduction organisms. I hope that you know the primates undergo what? The menstruation. There are cyclic changes of 28 days, where is the development of ovum and also the degeneration of the ovum if it is not fertilized. And these cyclic events are called as a menstruation, or these events are called as menstrual cycle. And during the menstrual cycle, this endometrium, it becomes thick during the ovulation, and it becomes, or it degenerates if the ovum is not fertilized. So there is a thickening and thinning of the endometrium, that is also called as stratum functionalis. Endometrium layer which becomes thick and thin is also called as what? The endometrium layer which is called as a stratum functionalis. And this stratum functionalis becomes thick as well as degenerates during the menstrual cycle based upon the fertilization and unfertilized ovum. So endometrium consists of secretory cells, that is tubular glandular cells, fibroblasts and the blood vessels. And the muscle layer, that is the myometrium, the middle layer consists of the smooth muscle cells which undergoes vigorous contraction during the parturition. And serosa or adventitia is the outermost covering, consists of a thin visceral peritoneum layer. And after the uterus, the next region we'll be studying about is the vagina. So vagina is a simple or made up of a fibromuscular structure. Vagina is a fibromuscular structure. So you know the function of vagina, it's a copulatory organ. So it is involved in coitus. So the male releases or insemination takes place in the vagina. So copulatory organ. So vagina is a copulatory organ, and vagina also is the part of the birth canal. So you know the birth canal, vagina plus cervical canal together, they act as a birth canal. So you must be clear about the female reproductive system. So here we studied about only the primary sex organs and the accessory reproductive organs of the female reproductive system. In the next class, we will study about the external genitalia and the mammary gland. So just take a recap of the entire female reproductive system. So you can see this is the diagram, how to draw it. It's very simple. So most of the people, they get problematic in the theory part, how to draw the diagram of the female reproductive system. Is very simple to draw it. The first thing you need to take, prepare or draw a bulb shaped structure or an inverted pear shaped structure with a cylindrical structure. This acts as the cervix. Just make a two faces out, make a dot like this. It's very simple structure, easily drawn. You can see, and this you need to extend it, become it a little dilated, becomes the ampulla, and then a funnel shaped structure after the ampulla with an external fimbriae. This acts as fimbriae, this is infundibulum, this is ampulla. So you can easily distinguish the structure of the fallopian tube as it becomes narrow after the formation, after the ampulla. Now the next region you will see the stuff to draw out of to indicate. So after this, you see this part of the region you need to cut out and make a structure. Make a structure. So like this, you make it. So this is one. So this is one. So this forms the uterine cavity. So this will be called as uterine cavity. This is uterine fundus. This is uterus body. This is cervix. So next region, this is the vagina. So you can make it a little more thick because it's a muscular region. Attach it to the cervix, cervical canal. So this is cervical canal. This is cervix. This is uterus body, uterine cavity where the womb develops. This is uterine fundus, the broad shaped structure. And this is the isthmus, right? This is ampulla. This is ampulla, and this is infundibulum. And these are the finger-like projections you can project. These are the fimbriae. Then closer to that, you draw a small almond-shaped structure. The almond-shaped structure called as the ovary, where you will be connecting it with a. This is a peritoneal cavity. Also, so not peritoneal cavity. It's a. And this is a ligament, the broad ligaments which are connecting the ovaries to the uterus, and this is the ligament which is connecting the ovary to the pelvic wall. And the same way you need to draw the other ovary like this. The same way there is a connection, and then this is the pelvic wall, and this is the ligament like this. So it's much more simple when you draw it in a basic manner to come. So first you start with the inverted pear-shaped structure, then draw a line elongating, making it dilated at both ends, forming a funnel-shaped structure at the other end, fimbriae, and an almond-shaped structure with the pelvic wall and the ligaments. The same way the pelvic wall and the ligaments, and this is the uterine body. So you can draw it like this, a V-shaped structure, and this becomes symmetrical at the lower part. This becomes the cervix, and this is the muscular region, that is the vagina, which acts as a copulatory organ. So it's a much more simpler to know the part and to easily draw it. Remember, while drawing the diagram, you just need to focus on the each and every part. So when you remember the part and the shape, it is easy to draw. Just tracing out from the textbook or tracing out from any other source is not as good as you will remember it. So if you want to remember each and every part, you need to study what is the structure of the part, and it becomes much more easier to draw the diagram. Thank you.